Hi, good afternoon or evening.
Hello,
It's
hello.
good evening, isn't it?
It is my way. Yes.
So everyone, this is Pepper Basham for those of you who don't know her or who know her books but haven't seen her face. So Pepper writes historical romance and contemporary romance, and this year she's got her first romantic suspense coming out. So there will be something in there for all of you to like. Now you've got your latest book with you, so
Oh, yeah.
show us a picture because I only have it on
Okay.
Kindle and it's not
Oh,
the
wait, hold
same.
on.
It's
It
just
fell off. It
it's
fell off my
falling
little
off.
shelf. Sorry.
All right, so there we go. So Mitchell's Crossroads, A Match for Emma. That's the third in the series, isn't it?
Yep,
But they
that's
all
right.
stand alone.
They can all stand alone, and so if you read them out of sequence, it wouldn't hurt you too badly. It always is better if you read them in
Yeah,
sequence, just
because
because
they
you get
build on
that,
each other.
that build up.
Yeah,
But you can read them out of sequence, and you'd be okay.
yeah. Um, so I have a confession to make because we set this up with like 2 hours notice, right?
Hmm.
And the reason is because this morning I was interviewing Natalie Walters, and I was fresh out of bed, so it was 7:30 in the morning here. I was fresh out of bed to the point where I still had like the pillow creases down my face and my hair like in this top knot. I still had my pajamas on the bottom half. I'd like put a top on the top, and then she shows up and she has like this beautiful glossy hair and
Yes.
she's put on makeup, and I'm like my most haggard version. So I was just like, all right, we're on day 18 of self-isolation. And so far for all because I tend to do the filming first thing in the morning because my kids get more needy as the day goes on.
Yeah.
And so for the first kind of 5 episodes of this, like you get kind of the fresh rolling out of bed Cara. And then after this morning, I was like, all right, we're gonna have a shower today. And we're gonna blow dry our hair,
Woo,
and
go, Kara.
and
Yes.
we're gonna film a couple of episodes in real clothes. And so I filmed Jessica Kate this morning, and then I was like, okay, I'm gonna need to now that I've gone to all this effort, I need to put in another one. And you were
That's
there,
great.
very obliging. So you've
Oh,
like
yeah.
showed up at what 9 o'clock at night your time, so that
That's right.
I can do one more with hair that is not my immediately out of bed hair. So thank you, I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
So for those who are watching, kind of where are you in the US, and
Okay,
what's your global pandemic situation?
okay, so I live in Asheville, North Carolina, which is on the eastern side of the United States in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina. And right now we have that stay safe at home thing going on. It's supposed to get a little more intense on Monday for the state of North Carolina, even though our county is really it's been great in our county. We've had 33 cases for the past 2 weeks. It's been that number. And we have had nobody in the hospital for the past several days that with a diagnosis of COVID-19. So our little spot here in the mountains has really been low. Of course, more urban places have higher numbers in North Carolina, but still, as a whole, North Carolina has not been hit super hard, but our governor's taken some pretty intense precautions. So we've been pretty much on stay safe at home since the second week of March, maybe the third week of March, but pretty much around the second week of March. Yeah.
Yeah, so we have just gone in oh, when did we go in? We were late March, but we went in really fast. So we had our Prime Minister kind of said to us on Saturday that we were at level 2 of our national framework. And then on Monday she said we're in level 3 and we're going into full lockdown Wednesday midnight. So
Wow.
we kind of had like this. It was basically 5 days, I guess, where New Zealand basically went from operating as completely normal to being just full lockdown. So
Yeah.
I think for most of us, we spent kind of the first week being like, what just happened?
Yeah.
What,
Yes.
why am I at home? Why are all my kids at home? Like, what is happening?
Yep, that's right.
So how many people are at home in your house with you?
All 7 of us are here. And let's see, but I mean, I have young adults. So I have a senior in college whose classes, of course, were moved to online for the rest of the semester. And I have a 21-year-old, a 20-year-old who works at Chick-fil-A who's still going into work every day because they've transitioned the way they're serving food so that it's safer at this time. So he goes into work. And then I have a senior in high school who is basically at home for her last part of her senior year, and she was the lead in the musical, which is probably not going to happen. So that's been kind of tough. And but she's been such a boss about it. I mean, she's been great. And then I have 2 middle schoolers, so that's me. And then my husband still goes into work every day. He's a pastor, so there are like just 3 to 5 people in the church office at a time. So that's still been okay. And he goes there just because he's trying to do a lot of video recording, and it's not always quiet here. So
No. I can imagine. So what's changed the most for you since the stay safe at home order?
well, okay, so it's really neat that our whole family's pretty close anyway, so having to spend a lot of time together has not been the big part. The hardest part has been learning how to navigate my job from home, my day job from home, as well as helping my kids with their school transition, doing school from home with them, because they like, each of my middle schoolers have like 7 different teachers that are trying to navigate this new computer system and using 3 different formats, and all the homework coming in, and which is different than, I guess, homeschooling, because you're the teacher or you're with a co-op and there's a limited amount of input. And so all of a sudden there's all this information and all this trying to navigate and learn and figure out how to send math homework when you do it by hand, and all this kind of stuff that the teachers are trying to navigate too. And so doing that on top of learning how to do, I'm a speech language pathologist and I work a lot with kids on the autism spectrum. So trying to learn how to do that through video therapy has been, and fitting it into their school schedule has probably been the hardest thing.
Yeah, I bet. Because I mean, mine are littles. So my 2 eldest are 8 and 6. But my 6-year-old like requires intensive supervision for everything. Like so it's like Josh and I are working at home. Thank goodness. I'm deemed an essential worker in New Zealand, so we've been able to keep some of our childcare arrangements. But then there's the toddler who's 3, who's like, I need to be the center of attention all the time. And then you've got the 8-year-old who could be off roaming the internet doing who knows what if you're not watching him. And then Josh and I trying to both work out of our bedroom because, we kind of had essentially 2 days notice that everyone was working from home, and like there's no time to set anything up at all. So we're both like trying to work out of this one, well, not small, but this one room in our house with 3 kids hooning around downstairs who are finding it really tricky to be like, okay, mum and dad are here, but they're not available to us really. So the other day we said to, because our eldest Judah, who's 8 in particular, likes to come in and have little chats. So we ended up saying to him, look, buddy, can you make a sign for our door, and we'll put that out if we're on like a meeting or a teleconference and you can't come in. And if it's out, not to come in, and if it's down, that, you can come in and have a chat. So he went and made this sign, and he'd placed it on our stovetop while he found some sticky tape, and my husband had accidentally left an element on from when he cooked breakfast. So like Judah looks up and is like signs like curling at the edges, and then suddenly it goes and then it's like flames shooting up in our kitchen, and fire, like, all right then.
Good plan.
Yep. Oh, but yeah, you kind of just have to try and find a way to make it work. But the good thing is that, you know, everyone else is doing the same. So
Yes, sure.
I'm
And
doing Zoom
people,
meetings with my team, and I've got a toddler half in my lap, and then you're seeing someone else's kid in the background pulling faces over their shoulder.
yes.
Like, all right, we're okay.
Yeah, most everybody's been gracious about it, I think, because we're all navigating it together. And I get tickled because I know you and I were talking earlier that places like Amazon or online ordering has like skyrocketed because we had to purchase a new printer because the printer we had couldn't handle the new stuff, the new input of information. And you know, I had to get a headset for the program I use at work because of the way that program is and how, for me, I'm having to listen to speech sounds over a microphone. And that is super tough. I didn't realize how very hard that is to say, are they saying the S right? Is that the way they're produced? I can't tell. So it's been, I'm sure, I have this monster of a printer now that I have never imagined ever owning at my house.
Like industrial size.
I know.
Wow. I ordered a printer 10 days ago and it still has not arrived. So I reckon it'll show up about the time this starts like rolling down again. I'll go back to work and it'll appear.
Of course. Well, it took over a week for ours to come because they told us at the store, because they were doing curbside pickup of your orders, and the person at the electronics store said, well, it's not going to be here for over a week. And I'm like, it says it's available, and he says it'll be available in over a week. They're all sold out. Wow. And I was like, okay, then I'll wait over a week then. So it's right here. We still haven't opened it yet because we just got it.
Oh, very nice.
I know. Hopefully it will be very nice.
And hey, Bubby, and how are you finding things creatively? Because you've got a book coming out in October.
Yeah. So I've been working really hard on writing. I know a lot of people have struggled with finding that creative energy because it's so distracting right now in the world, and I get that. I've had a harder time not so much finding the creative energy as much as finding the time for writing, with trying to help everybody adjust in my family, plus adjusting myself and having to take continuing ed courses to learn how to use certain new programs and things like that for work. And so that's been a little more challenging for finding time, but I'm really thankful because I have worked on 2 different proposals that are going to be sent out for one of them is a really fun, weird book. I don't even know how to talk about it. And then, I'm doing edits right now on the Barber book. And so, and then I will start on another book proposal, which is historical romance in Egypt, early 1900s.
Ooh.
Yes,
I feel
Indiana Jones.
I feel like the world needs fun, weird books right now.
Yeah. Well, the fun, weird book is it's through emails, and it is so weird, but it was fast. I did 45,000 words in like 2 weeks.
Wow.
I know. It's just because, have you ever been hit like that where you're like, this has to come out in any free moment I have in my life? Yeah. And so it started thankfully in February.
You had some free moments.
Yes, I had extra free moments at that time. You forget what those free moments looked like, and then you are like, oh yeah, I did have those.
I did have those. And I wrote a lot of words.
That's right.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
So your edits on the Barber book right now, we were talking earlier how this is kind of your first venture into the kind of suspense space. How have you found that?
I will tell you, it has been a challenge. I'm trying to figure out why it's been a challenge. I never felt myself to be a suspense writer. I wrote a novella that took place during World War II and was espionage. So I think I thought, oh, well, I can do it if it's short. Right? If I have to hold it up over a whole novel, I don't think I can, because there are so many things that you place in a book of suspense that you're culminating at the end. Does that make sense? And I don't really think that way. I don't guess. I don't know. Um, but that was, hey,
This is
hey,
Ari. Ari, can you say hi to Pepper?
Hi.
hey, how you doing, buddy?
Good.
Have you done anything really cool today?
What
What was it?
Play my dinosaur.
You played with your dinosaur?
Yeah. Oh,
What kind of dinosaur? Which one?
My green one.
Is he a T-Rex or a Brontosaurus, or what is he?
The T-Rex.
Yes, the only kind, right, with the big claws like that.
You're talking to Mummy.
We're going to go to the back.
there you go. You want to take your socks to Daddy?
Daddy, stop. Let me.
Right, let's go.
I love the way he sounds. It's like so sweet.
Love you, buddy. Have fun at the park.
Say bye to Mum.
Hi, Mama.
Bye, buddy.
You shut the door 'cause I've got 2 minutes.
Okay.
Sorry, you were talking about writing suspense.
So I didn't know if I could handle that, because it was such a different way to think. Because I've always just thought the romance. I'm used to doing the historical thread and a romantic thread and a spiritual thread. The suspense thing wasn't something I'd had a lot of practice with. So that was hard. But I'll tell you what was even harder, and this is going to sound weird, but was writing about the story from my hometown. I think if I had picked something that wasn't so close to home, it wouldn't have been quite as hard, because with the story that I picked, there are still sides that are taken in the county where I grew up.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this is like, it's been over 100 years.
Yeah, exactly. But it's Appalachia, and there are very deep roots in Appalachia, and things are held on to for very long. And so when I didn't realize what I was getting into, really, because my parents still live there in the same place, and a lot of my family are still in that same place. And I was like, oh crap. Oh wait, I said crap.
We'll cope.
You're okay with that. But anyway, I was like, okay, I've got to find a way to write this story without picking a side.
Wow.
Yeah.
And do you feel like you managed to do that?
I think so. I think I was trying to be very careful to respect both sides, because here's the interesting part of this historical tip, and this will be the first time lots of people are hearing this, but about the story. There was a first shot fired in the massacre that started the massacre, and no one knows who fired it.
Wow.
Never been able to prove who fired it. There's never been any substantial evidence to state who fired it. But if they could have ever found out who fired it, then they could have really kind of come to terms with whose fault it really was.
Yeah.
So they never have. So there have been two sides of the story where people have tried to blame each other. There's the lawmen and then the Allen family, and no one knows.
No one knows.
Yeah.
Wow. And if you don't know by 108 years later, odds are you're never going to know.
Unless, somebody finds something. You're always hearing about these surprises being found in, locked doors and drawers and unearthed under the, boards of a floor or something.
So, final 2 questions.
Okay.
What do you miss most? And what is keeping you sane right now?
What I miss, I miss people. So, I'm so glad I have so many people in my family that I get to see right now. I can't imagine being a person who is having to navigate this without having people around very often, because I'm constantly around people. And so I miss the camaraderie of being out with either a friend or my coworkers, because that's fun. It's a different kind of conversation. I yeah, I think that's the thing I miss the most. The second question was, oh, what's helping me get through? I already showed you. Chocolate is helping me a lot right now. Chocolate is helping a lot.
Good choice.
And writing. I tell you what, Cara, which way do you say it?
I'd take either.
Do you really? Which way do you say it?
I say Cara.
Cara.
Yeah.
Ah. Wait, my speech language pathologist head is transcribing it. So writing this story that's quirky that I was telling you about, I don't know what it is. It's been therapeutic for me. It's been positive. It's all this joy and happiness and happily ever after and funny. And I think that has been, besides our faith and besides putting our minds in a place where we recognize there's a bigger plan in place and nobody can thwart that plan, right? God's got this, even though it looks awful. And God is working his fingerprints all over every piece of this in some kind of amazing way. Yes, we logically and hopefully in our hearts know that, but to help me get through it, and keep my mind in distracted sometimes or just happier, this story has been definitely a godsend to be able to play around with it. So,
well, I will be hoping that it finds a happy publishing home so that the rest of us see it sometime, because it sounds super fun.
It was super fun. It's weird though. Again, I keep telling my agent, I said, I know it's weird. So, a really quick thing. I am going to hopefully start this week reading my fairy tale note, my loose retelling of Cinderella book called Between Stairs and Stardust.
Oh,
Yeah.
fun, Bubby.
It's loosely based on Cinderella.
Yeah.
And I'm going to start reading it live and recording it for people if they want to hear it, because it's so much fun. And I can do the Appalachian accents.
Very fun. So where will that be? Will that be on your Facebook page or?
Yeah, I'm going to be putting it on my Facebook, my official author Facebook page, so people can see it.
All right. So everyone look that up if you want to hear Pippa reading her retelling of Cinderella, Pippa Basham. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks.
Thank you for, letting me do a second episode with not bed hair.
And your hair looks so nice.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It was lovely chatting. And
you too.
Yeah, all the best. We'll chat again soon.
Okay, we'll see you later.
See you later.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.